Okay, in this video we are going to see about the constructor in the Java. Okay, so let's see the definition. So what is a constructor? A constructor in Java is a special method that is used to initialize the objects. Okay, let's try to study the constructor with the help of example. So I'm moving to the IntelliJ idea. Okay, here I'm creating a new class. The class name is mobile. Inside this class, I'm declaring a few variables. The first variable is the string. Second variable is string, or let me take the double, display size. The third variable that I'm having is processor. The fifth variable is color. And the sixth variable that I'm taking over here, sorry, the fifth variable I'm taking over here is type. Okay, so here there is a type of processor. Okay, right. So here we have just declared the few variables in the class called mobile. All right. Now let's try to create the object of this class. So I'm creating a new class over here. Let me give the class name, that is main. I can give any name, right? And inside this main class, I'm declaring a public static void main. Okay, and guys, I'm showing you here that how to create the object of the class which we have created. Okay, so here I'm creating the object like let's say mobile Samsung is equal to new mobile, right? Similarly, if I want to create one more object of the class, I can create like this, that mobile iPhone is equal to new mobile. We have created the two instances of the mobile class, Samsung and iPhone. Okay, so now let me show you. Let me split this window. Yeah, here it is. Okay, here you can see that we have this class called mobile, and based on that class we have created the two objects. The first one is the Samsung and the second one is the iPhone. Okay, so guys, if you see that how I'm creating the object of this class, so the syntax is that the first word or the first string that which I have specified over here is the class name. Okay, that you might have observed. The second argument is what, or the second thing is what? It is the reference of the object. So using using this name, I can access that all the properties related to this particular object which we are going to create. Okay. After that, we have equal to sign, and then we have a keyword new. So guys, remember that whenever we use the new keyword in the Java, that means that new memory is going to be allocated for our program, right? So here basically we are creating a new memory for the object which we are going to create, and after that whatever we are writing, okay, that is the class name followed by the parentheses. Okay, so here basically we are calling a constructor. So if you go back to the definition of the constructor, that what is a constructor? A constructor in a Java is a special method that is used to initialize the object. So here basically what we are doing, that we are calling a method. This is a special method, not a normal method. Okay, and that special method is known as what? Constructor. So here I can write that I'm calling constructor over here. I'm calling constructor over here, right? Okay, now you must be wondering that there are no methods or no constructor available in this program or in this class. Then how it is possible to call the constructor? So guys, remember this thing, that whenever you call this default constructor, this is known as also known as the what? Default constructor, the constructor without any argument. At that time, even though if you have not specified the default constructor in the class, then automatically it would be created at runtime. Okay, let me show you that how it is going to work. Okay, so when you will run this program, this one, right? When you will create the object, So at that time, not at that time, but when you will compile this mobile class, at that time, the Java runtime environment will add to your code like this, that it will add the code snippet like this, that is mobile followed by parenthesis followed by the curly brace. Okay, so this is nothing but what? This is a constructor. Okay, and whatever you are calling over here, you are basically calling a method. Okay, and that method is known as what? Constructor. It is a special method. It is known as what? Constructor. So basically here you are calling this particular constructor, right? So you should remember that whenever you are creating an object, at that time you are calling a constructor. Okay, so now in this constructor I'm just going to write one println message. So this out, and here I'm writing calling constructor. Okay, calling constructor. Here what is going to happen, that when we will run this program, okay, when we will run this program, that is a main.java, and we will create this objects, right? At that time this constructor is going to be called. Okay, so this particular statement is going to be printed twice. Okay, let me show you. Let me run this program, and here you can see that we are getting calling constructor two times. Okay, so here we have understood that the constructor is used to create the Java object, and basically the constructor is used to initialize the variable. Okay, here we have declared a few variables, right? But you must be wondering that we are not initializing anything, right? But internally what is going to happen, that all these variables are going to be initialized by the Java runtime environment. Let me show you how. These variables are going to be initialized with the default value. Okay, like the first one, the first variable is what? It is a model. Okay, now it is a class type. This is what? The string is a class type. It is not a normal primitive data type. Okay, so this class type would be always initialized with the value null. Okay, so this is the default value. If you have not specified any explicit value, so this is what that Java is going to initialize with, right? Our class variable. Okay, then we have a display size. Now display size is normal variable. It would be initialized with the default value of that normal variable. So this is the double, so its default value is 0.0, so it would be initialized with this. Then we have a processor. Again, the processor would be initialized with the keyword null. Okay, and finally we are having a color as well as type. So that color would be initialized by null, and the type also would be initialized by null. So this is what going to happen when you will run this particular program. Okay, I can show you that. Now suppose here if you are writing that as out, and if you are going to print everything, right? So it is going to print that whatever value we have written over here. So I'm first writing. Okay, obviously I cannot write this variable directly over here. What I supposed to do? I have to write like this, that Samsung dot model, like this. Okay, spelling mistake, Samsung dot model. Okay, similarly let me copy this and let me paste this, Samsung dot display size. I'm going to show you only these two variables. Okay, so let me run this and let me show you. So even though if you write this or not, that is not that doesn't matter. Okay, because internally the Java runtime environment is going to do this thing for you. Okay, so let me run our application and let me see the output. So the output should be what? That the Samsung dot model should display what? Null. It is displaying null. Okay, and Samsung dot display size should display the 0.0, because these are the default values. Okay, so though we have not specified any initialization code over here inside the constructor, the Java runtime environment will automatically initialize all the variables which are declared at the class level. Remember this thing. Okay, now obviously that you may be asking that the constructor is supposed to be used to initialize the variable, right? Okay, so obviously that the default constructor is there, but do I have any other way to initialize the variable explicitly by the user? Yes, we have that way. Okay, so whatever constructor we have declared over here, that is known as what? Default constructor. Now let me remove this. Okay, and I'm just writing this thing in the comment, that is, this is the default constructor. Okay, another type of constructor that we can have is parameterized constructor. Okay, like this, that suppose if you want to initialize the two variable, like let's say if you want to initialize the model. Okay, right, model, let me give the name, that is model local, and string display size local. Okay, right. Okay, so here what we want to do, that whenever the constructor would be called, this constructor can also be called, right, at that time these two variables supposed to be initialized with these two values that the user will pass. Okay, so let me write like this: the model is equal to model local, and display size is equal to display size local. So what will happen, that now I'm not in that call only default constructor. Now I have made a way so that I can call the parameterized constructor like this. Okay, so let me show you that how this is going to work. So let me create the another object of the Samsung like this, that mobile Samsung, let's say Samsung 2 is equal to new mobile. Okay, and here inside this I can specify the argument, that is the model. Let's say the model of the Samsung mobile is, let's say, A50. Okay, and the display size is, let's say, 6.7. Okay, display size is 6.7, right? And after that, suppose here you should observe that what we have done, we are creating the object now with the help of parameterized constructor. Okay, so after that, now suppose if I will try to print these two values once again. Okay, but with the help of the new reference variable, that is Samsung 2, right, at that time it will display these two values, that is A50 and the 6.7, because here the instance variable are going to be initialized with these two values. Okay, let me run this application and let me show you. Okay, so here you can see that after null and 0.0, we are getting the value, that is A50 and A6.7. Okay, so here you can see that we have created two constructor, and this is known as constructor overloading, right? So here we have seen the example of the constructor overloading, that is one of the concept of object oriented programming language. That's it for this video.